Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael F. I'm definitely an alcoholic, and I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. I'd especially like to thank Father. This is very interesting times that we're in, and to have the courage to let people in a room to do what we do here takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of love. And I can tell you for sure, I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for this man. So thank you so much for having us and allowing us to get together, to gather, and to hopefully help one another stay sober and have a relationship with this power called God. I generally feel I'm not very good at this, right? I generally feel like I'm somebody who, when you want to come and ask me to talk about page 17 of the book, I could do that for an hour, a couple hours probably. You want to ask me to talk about a vision for you or some other thing, a third step, fifth step, anything like that, I feel like I could run on it. When you ask me to be in these positions of to let me just talk for an hour, I don't feel this comfortable. And part of it is since I was in second grade, I was performing. I was in the third grade choir, and I was in choir all the way into high school. I was performing in plays in second grade. I was performing in plays in fifth grade. I was competitive about it. I cared a lot about it. I cared a lot about what people thought. I wanted to be good. I wanted to be better than everybody else. If it was a play that was on TV, I wanted to be better than the guys on television and all of that stuff. And I took it very seriously. And so when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, I went to school for it outside of high school. So it was something that really meant a lot to me. And when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous in 2008, and I saw guys up at the podium, I saw guys with a microphone, and now it's even a little bit weird because now I'm on TV. I'd say I knew right away that the dangers for a guy like me to be in front of a microphone, how in terms of telling a story or telling my monologue or, going through certain areas of my life. And, this is when I laugh. This is when we cry. This is when I knock on the podium, right? This is when I make the little joke or something like that. And I was always very aware of that dynamic. And so what I try to do is try to keep things current. I try to keep things current to something that's going on currently in my life. And I generally feel that when I talk about either this process or some version of this process, you're going to find out what it was like, you're going to find out what happened, and you're going to find out what it's like now. And I'd like to welcome our folks online too. Some of those folks are familiar, like Joe and Christy. I'm familiar with from Allendale, so great seeing you. Thanks for coming on. I don't know if that's Randy, but anyway, it's great to see everybody that's here. So, let me say, belated, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, and happy St. Joseph's Day to everyone. I did celebrate those days this week. I celebrated the feasts of those days. And why it's kind of neat to bring this up and why it's neat that it comes down now and that I'm speaking during this week. First of all, I feel like it's an honor to come around this time of year, but also, and it's an honor to speak here in Middletown, New Jersey, which is also a little bit scary because this is where the spiritual sickness really, really, took form. I used to live in Middletown. I moved from Brooklyn, New York to Middletown, New Jersey at a fairly young age, and I was super aware of the spiritual illness at 5 years old. And so, and I think that's one of the reasons why I liked plays. I was allowed to be somebody else. I was allowed to you want to put me on front of a stage as Michael Finley, I am not comfortable. You want to ask me to sing a song as Michael Finley, I don't feel comfortable. In fact, I can tell you many experiences about the difficulties of me doing a solo as me standing up. Karaoke became a difficult thing. I came gripped with fear of that. But if you put a costume on me, if you put some makeup on me, if you put me in a role, I'm going to do pretty good at it. And if I mess up at it for some reason, just because of the way I play the role, I don't know if it's whatever particular type of technique, but, Seymour Krelborn, scratches his voice on the high note. Well, it was Seaborn Krelborn, and it wasn't Michael Finley. I don't know what that is, but it allowed me to play somebody else. It allowed me to be somebody else I wasn't, because I wasn't very comfortable being myself. And I was aware of that at a very young age. And What's neat about St. Patrick's Day is I remember my first adult St. Patrick's Day. I was probably waiting for it my whole life. I was old enough to get a hotel room, and the first St. Patrick's Day, I got a hotel room. I think I went out and got my mom an Irish teapot set. And every year after that, she got cups, and she got the little creamers and the sugar things, and all to that matched this really special, Tara china. It was set. And I gave my dad this really great card that said, Dad, I love you so much. Thank you so much for the heritage that you've passed along to me. Thank you. Thank you for, sharing the culture and the things that you passed on to me in this life. It means so much to me and all these other things. I signed this really great heartfelt card, telling him how much I loved him, how much I appreciated it, slipped it on his, where he sits in the kitchen. Maybe gave him a little something too, I don't know, maybe like a little plant or maybe an Irish pin or a hat, some sort of thing like that. And then I proceeded to go to a hotel room because I was old enough to get a hotel room. And I had a party at this hotel room, 18 years old, for St. Patrick's Day. And I bought tons of Irish booze. I bought tons of Irish beers. And I even had green high C. So that was the official mixer of the party, right? So if you were going to drink vodka, it was with this Ecto, whatever, high C, green high C. So you're getting smashed on green drinks and all this other stuff. And I was so egotistical about the whole thing, had such control issues. And it's funny, I wasn't aware of those control issues, and I'm still only beginning to get a real grip and understanding of those control issues now. But the control issues that I had is you could not have two Irish beers we had the tub filled with Irish beers, and there was no two beers in the tub at the same time, and it was loaded up with ice. And so if you took out the Guinness Gold, you had to replace it with a Guinness Gold. There couldn't be two Guinness Golds in there, right? And I would freak out. Somebody go in there, start throwing the other beers in there, whatever. It's nope, it's got to be one of every kind, all this other kind of crazy stuff in there. And if it was either this one or the next one, when I had come home smashed the next day, still smashed from St. Patrick's Day, I'm in my bed, and just in the same way that I snuck out of the house because I didn't want to tell anybody what I was doing. I didn't want to tell anybody I wouldn't be home for corned beef and cabbage. I didn't want to tell anybody, that maybe I was going to church or whatever like that. I didn't want to deal with everybody. So I snuck out of the house early in the morning, leaving everybody those presents, and I tried to sneak into the house in the same conditions. Well, it's a different condition, but under the same circumstances, not wanting to be caught, not wanting to be dealt with. And my dad came in the room, which is something he never does, very infrequently did. And he came into the room, turned on the lights, and my dad, who doesn't, get emotional, my dad who doesn't get vocal, my dad who doesn't curse or swear or any of these other things, turned on the light in my bedroom, and he said, "You see this card?" He said, "This card is nothing but words." He goes, "You're an actor." He goes, "You're good with words. That's what you do. You can say words to people that you don't mean all day long." He goes, "This card to me is just nothing but a bunch of words." And he took it and he ripped it up and he threw it at me. Now that made my inventory many years later, but my father couldn't be any further from the truth. I've been acting my whole life. I was the boy I tried to pretend to be the boy he wanted me to be, pretend to be the boy my mother wanted me to be, pretend to be the friend across the street, and a different kind of friend to the guy around the corner, down the corner. I tried to be a different type of person to my family out in Brooklyn, and I tried to be a different type of person to my friends in school. I was different to one girl and different with another girl. I was one way with the metalheads, and I was one way with the guys who smoked outside. I was one way with the kids in choir. I was one way with the kids in the plays. I was one way with the athletic kids. And I was an actor in every single aspect of my life. And it says in this book, we are an actor on an actor on the stage. That part of our book annoyed the crap out of me. It really did. Because I was so closely connected to it, it made me feel really uncomfortable. And it's probably even taken me many years to admit how much of an actor I was in my real life. And not only that, how my father was right. But my father was right, because if that meant something to me, I would have been there with him. If those words did mean something to me, I would have been spending that time with my family. What meant more to me was getting smashed. What meant more to me was controlling the flow of the beers inside the hotel bathroom. And second year St. Patrick's Day, I decided to go out and get 2 hotel rooms together. And so now more people can get in, and now I can get more booze in there and whatnot. Next year, maybe 3 rooms. By the 4th year, I'm getting like a Marriott Residence Inn. I'm renting it for like a weekend or a 4-day event. I'm paying for everything. I'm paying for all the booze. I'm paying for all the food coming in. And now it's just like, St. Patrick's Day, like event, right? And what a lie, too. What a horrible tribute to a guy who had a concept of God that he had felt so strongly about, that he had helped so many other people convert to this thing, yet I am believing some other sort of lie. And my God is booze. My God is what you think of me. My God is pride. My God is lust. And so I have this huge, party at the Marriott Residence Inn, and at that point in time, now I get so smashed that they're basically waking me up. Oh, and not to mention, right? I mean, the progression of everything else that's going on at the party comes with the play as well, right? So, alcohol, let's just say, in every form at all that could possibly be coming to the party was coming to the party. And now at this point in time, they're just waking me up because, the wings guy is showing up, so I can throw them $100 to pay for the wings, or some other cash for the pizza guy or whatever it was. And I thought it was great. I thought at the time I thought it was great, because I thought everybody loved me. I thought everybody thought I was cool. I thought I was the life of the party. I thought I had a lot of friends. I thought I was funny. I thought everybody looked up to me. I thought everybody respected me. And alcohol did for me what I could not do for myself. And I remember when I came to so my sober date is, I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous in February of 2008 after the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl of 2008, my friend walked me into one of these rooms in Tinton, New Jersey. And he just asked me try not to drink for 30 days. He said, just try not to drink for 30 days. I said, well, I got these pills, and I'm allowed to take these pills because I got pains here and I got pains here, and maybe we'll talk about where some of these pains came from, And then I said, I got the Xanax because I got panic attacks, and I have panic attacks every week, dude. So I can't stop taking this. And I knew some of the other substances were not good for me. I knew some of the other substances that really allowed me to drink for much longer periods of time and stay awake and stuff like that. I knew those things weren't good for me, but I wasn't willing to let go of everything. And my friend, thank God, in his wisdom, he just said, he didn't say, well, you're not really sober. He didn't say, well, you're going to have to put all that stuff down someday. He didn't say, well, you really shouldn't do that stuff, when you go to a meeting or any of this other stuff. He said, just in loving wisdom, just try not to drink for 30 days. And, go to those meetings. Go find yourself that book. Go find a guy who's had an experience with that book. And he said, and I said, listen, dude. I said, I think I have an anger problem too. I got some really serious anger issues. And to be perfectly honest, I'd love to get rid of these anger issues and still be able to drink, right? And he's just like, and I said, and also, dude, I don't want to go to Alcoholics Anonymous just to find out that in 2 years from now, I need to go to anger management, right? So, I said, and because, please just tell me, I'm not basically asking him, please tell me to go to anger management so I can still keep drinking and get rid of my problems. Get me out of this jam. And he said, just try not to drink for 30 days. He goes, Michael, I promise you, if you go get that book, you go find a guy who's had an experience with that book, and you just work those steps to the best of your ability. He goes, Michael, I promise you, you will never need another fellowship again for as long as you live. I didn't know what the hell that meant. I really had no idea what he meant, but I held on to that promise. And I didn't drink. I hadn't drank since, but I wasn't sober. I was still messing around with some other things. So I didn't get sober until May 1st, 2008. And since then, I haven't had alcohol in any form at all, or I haven't been involved with any other kind of mind-altering substances since May 1st, 2008. And so I remember being in a room of Alcoholics Anonymous in March of 2008. And I remember we were in a men's meeting in like Eatontown or Shrewsbury. And I thought it was kind of a crazy meeting, right? Every time I went to this meeting, guys were saying crazy stuff that I didn't quite fit with, crazy stuff that I'm like, I don't know we really should be talking about this kind of stuff. Guys are talking about certain types of substances that they're using or not using or trying not to use and all these other kind of things. I'm like, oh, they could talk about that here? That's kind of strange and that's kind of funny. But I said to them, listen, I'm actually kind of nervous about St. Patrick's Day. I said, I don't know if I can do it. I'm nervous about, staying sober on St. Patrick's Day. And, this guy said something to me, which sounds really stupid in the sense that it's the most obvious thing that anybody could say. But he said, you know what, Michael, I felt the way that you had felt too. I also kind of had this like affinity for St. Patrick's Day and affinity for the other things that go on St. Patrick's Day. And he said, but he goes, the truth of the matter is St. Patrick's Day is a holy day. It's a special day. He goes, so what I try to do is I try to go to church on St. Patrick's Day. I try to, say certain prayers. I spend time with my family. I get involved in the traditions of the people that had come before me. And I try to learn a little something about this guy who did these really cool things that this day is all about. I also try to learn a little bit about my heritage and the people and their struggles and these other things. And thank God for that guy in so many respects, because that guy has made my St. Patrick's Day since 2008 more special than anything ever than any of the years before. I've been in the front row of the St. Patrick's Day parade. I've seen my cousins in the parade. I've had great times on St. Patrick's Day. So I'm telling you that in my sobriety, I wound up being in touch with something that I wasn't able to get from all those years of booze. And there's another line in the book that I never really liked. What the hell is it? It says something along the lines of, I wouldn't trade my worst day for any of my best days. I wouldn't trade my worst day sober for any of my best days of getting loaded. And I never really was comfortable with that. I never really remembered that. It's just like, I don't know if that's true for me. I remember 2 years ago, St. Patrick's Day. I went to church, said some prayers. I was starting to get involved now with this like St. Patrick novena, right? I spent time in the church, extra time. I made a point also, since 2008, I've always made sure I was off every year on St. Patrick's Day. This is the first year I ever worked on St. Patrick's Day. It was because my job right now is in distress, so I didn't bother asking. But every year on St. Patrick's Day, I made a point of being off, spending time with my dad, spending time with my mom. And so I'm driving I went to church. I went to Monmouth Meats, picked up a big fat, nice roast beef. Monmouth Meats got some of the best meats over there, right? It's not a commercial, but it's just the truth. I got this real special, like, big fat roast beef, bring it over to my father. I know my mom's not super big into roast beef, so I buy her a ton of pastrami. My mom's Italian, St. Joseph's Day. It's kind of a neat little thing. And so I get my mom tons of pastrami, everything else that my dad or mother would need for cooking this special corned beef and cabbage deal, the cabbage, all that stuff. I bring it over to them early in the morning, and I'm driving to Belmar. I'm driving to Belmar to the Belmar Yacht Club on St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going to see my friend Bob and his cousin. And these two guys, they play all those Irish folk tunes that my dad used to listen to growing up. And I've been going to the Belmar Yacht. I've been invited to the Belmar Yacht Club to be a part of this special thing every year. And all of a sudden, my friend Rich calls me. And Rich at this point is like just 2 or 3 years sober. And he's calling me on as I'm driving, about to park by the Belmar Yacht Club. And he said, Mike, he goes, I was just thinking that today's St. Patrick's Day. He's like, I was remembering all those times at the Marriott Residence Inn. I remember the hotels. I remember all those great times. I just wanted to call you up and wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. It's not one of those things that people call you up and say happy St. Patrick's Day unless, you're in the club or one of those things like that. Or if maybe you wear one of those kind of shirts that begs you to wish me one or something like that. But in this case, Rich called me. He was sober. He was having a relationship with this thing called God. This guy, Rich, who I'd gotten loaded with for many years. Anthony knows Anthony may have been at one of those gigs. I'm not sure. And I'm sorry if I didn't invite you. Because that's the kind of jerk I was. I was that type of jerk. I want everybody to like me, but not you. Not you. You're not invited. I thought so much of myself that I even thought I had special clubs. Alcohol did put me in a special club. This one, right? But it also put me in another special club. The club of having very, very few friends. Because all of my friends I had lost throughout many of the years for one reason or another. I had some really great friends. I had a great friend named Paul. Loved this guy. You would probably say Mike and Paul put together. Just like John and Paul, Lennon McCartney. For a part in time, it was like Mike and Paul, Mike and Paul, Mike and Paul. Well, this great guy, Paul, who we had all these plans and these dreams together, whatever. He's just one of those guys that I lost as a result of my drinking. I wound up being a part of the club of the Lonely Hearts Club, the Lone Wolves. And probably appropriate because I felt like I was a loner from the beginning anyhow. And so what happens? Rich tells me, he goes, hey, I just remembered all that stuff. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm looking out on the Atlantic Ocean. I'm about to go into this place called the Belmar Yacht Club, a place where I don't think I will ever be allowed to have a membership to because I don't think I could afford it or, fit into whatever the situation is over there. And I'm walking in with a bunch of people who are getting loaded, right? They're drinking. It's like, 11 or 12 o'clock. They're all drinking and all this other stuff. I'm just going in. I got my little place at my little chair, at a table with some of Bob's family members and stuff like that. And I'm just looking out on the Atlantic Ocean. And Rich is telling me Happy St. Patrick's Day, and he's reminding me about all these times and stuff of that nature. And I remember saying to myself, holy crap, that line from the book, you know what? I would not trade any of those days for that year. I wouldn't trade any of those other St. Patrick's Days for all the other ones that I had moving forward. I've now have a holy kind of not that I'm a holy roller or anything like that, but I have these really nice spiritual experiences, this really nice time with myself, this really nice time with this thing called God on St. Patrick's Day. And I get to spend time with my mom, who's a real difficult relationship. I get to spend time with my father, and I get to be those words. I don't get to say those words. I don't get to write cards like that crap anymore. I don't pull a full wool over your eyes. I don't even buy fancy tea sets anymore. Now I might get like an Entenmann's cake or something like that. I might go get some, you know what I mean? I might get some Irish soda bread and a card for both of them, something like that. What they're happy is they got their boy. They have their son. And I got to experience that. Thanks to you people, thanks to the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's neat because that's a story that I don't normally tell in various ways. This year on St. Joseph's Day, I worked a double. I was up for 20 hours at work, and then I was up probably for 24-something hours. And I drove out, got the St. Joseph's Day's pastries, went out, did some other errands for my mother, and I got the pastrami. And last night, I got to spend some time. My dad has since passed, but I got to sit down and have the pastrami with my mom. I got to, have the St. Joseph's Day's pastries. I gave my mom a St. Joseph's Day card, and we spent the time in the day together. And you want to know something? Growing up, I couldn't spend an hour alone with my mother in the room. My mother starts to get to a certain point in the conversation, and I'm running to the bar. When I was 6 years old, my mother started to reach a certain pitch in her voice, and I'm running away. I ran away. You know how many times I left the house to never come back again? In my little closet growing up, I had like a $10 roll of quarters. I had like 3 or 4 pairs of tidy white underwear. I had a bunch of T-shirts and I don't know, a knife, right? And I forget what else. Yeah, it's probably a knife. And just in case I was going to run away. Right? And I had this whole dream that I'm going to live at the woods at the end of my block, right? It's over behind off Cherry Tree, those basketball courts. I was going to live in those woods over there. And at that time, pizza was like a slice of pizza and a soda was like $1. So my plan was I was going to get out. I was going to get these roll of quarters. I was going to be able to eat a slice of pizza and a soda every day, and I'm going to live in the woods, and I'd be finally happy and at peace. I made that trip so many times to get the hell out because I couldn't handle life. I couldn't handle the family. I couldn't handle what they thought. I couldn't handle simple stuff like don't keep your jacket on the chair. I couldn't handle that, and I couldn't handle being told don't put your jacket on the chair. I would get angry. I would flip out. I would throw things. I would call you names. I'd tell you you're an awful mother. I'd say I hate you, all this other stuff. That's the type of kid I was. Without a drink in me, I couldn't handle the life. I ran away at 14. I ran away at 16. I couldn't handle this stuff. Now I'm sitting down with this lady. I'm spending all day with her. And we're talking and, watching little stuff on the TV, and maybe it's stuff I like and maybe it's stuff I don't like. Maybe I'll have a conversation with her. This is amazing. Thank you, God. Thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you, thanks for these 12 steps. I'm having experiences that I would never have before. Another thing to keep things current, holy shit, is these things keep coming up to me from our book. It keeps saying, without him, I am nothing. It says also, without him, I am lost. Talking about this thing called God. Without him, I am lost. Let me tell you, I know what that's like. I know that feeling. He's not saying, they're saying there, I am lost. I am without direction. I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to be. I don't know where I'm going. I might have a couple of bucks in my pocket. I might have a job. I might have a girlfriend, but I feel so lost. I might be on my way to a job. I might know how to get there, but inside I am lost. I understand that. I feel that way. And guess what? I get that way in and out of sobriety, in and out of drunk or sober. Without this thing called God, I am lost. Without him, I am nothing. It says in the second step, God is everything or he is nothing. And I have to ask myself today, what is it like today? Well, is God everything for me today or is God nothing? How often, even in sobriety, even standing at these podiums, even, sitting down with my girlfriend, even spending time with that mother, and I want to make it look like we're having all this great happy family, St. Joseph, St. Patrick's Day crap going on, right? Where is God nothing in my life? Where is God everything in my life? I'll tell you one example. Every single damn day for the past year, I go right here. My day ends starting with this friggin' thing. This is my God. This is what I worship. Now, I'm not, granted, there was times where I'm opening up the apps. I'm looking to see what girl winked at me on the website. I'm looking to see, from Craigslist casuals encounters, who's going to play this game and who's going to get involved in that game, right? And I'm living out these fantasies and all this other stuff, right? It used to be stuff like that. Now I'm not doing that stuff. Now it's just like, oh, what does work have to say? And what does this guy have to say? And, what does my current emails got to say? Or what's the newest political crap on YouTube or whatever that I want to pretend that I have control over, right? If God is everything, then this phone doesn't go there, right? If God is everything, I pick up this phone after I say my prayers. If God is everything, I say my prayer. I put this down, then I say my prayers. If God is everything, I'm not having a hard time writing nightly review at the end of the night because I spent so much time watching shit on YouTube. Excuse my language. If God is everything, I'm not trying to manage my DVR so I can get every second of every last Yankees game. Or now it's like I'm taping this show, Married at First Sight, with my girlfriend, right? We got to get them all out of the way, right? Got to watch every damn second. We'll fast forward the commercials, whatever. And what happens? Now I'm going to bed. I don't do nightly review. What happens? I don't do nightly review. Now tomorrow I might wake up and I'm not a good boyfriend. I'm all of a sudden like now I'm acting in a way as if I'm taking somebody for granted. I don't deserve a girlfriend. You ever hear that expression? You are exactly where you're supposed to be. I don't sign up for that. I'm supposed to be in jail. I deserve jail. I don't deserve to be standing here doing this thing. I don't deserve this kind of life. I don't deserve to be invited to have a conversation about my life. I don't deserve that. Streamlining, all this other stuff, recording and all this other stuff. I deserve to be in jail. I'm an abuser. I'm physically and verbally abusive to everybody. I mock, make fun of everybody in my life. Everybody. Every card on my damn amends list, making fun of, mocking, talking behind your back, gossip, character assassinate. I am prejudiced. I have perpetuated every stereotype since the age of 5. Every stereotype that was out there, I perpetuated every joke that goes with them. Every religion, everything. It didn't matter. Sex, sexual identity, sexual identification, what kind of types, all that stuff. Why? Because I'm afraid of what you're going to think about me. What you're going to think about my sexuality. What you're going to think about my specific kinks, my specific desires. God forbid you know that I was spending time down in the dungeon in New York City. Or carrying on in those other little secret little relationships that you find on, back page New York City press. Back in those days, the Village Voice. Walking and meandering the streets. I enjoyed the gutter. I deserved the gutter. My mind is from the gutter. And my mind is attracted to it. I don't deserve this. So I'm a guy that, everyone has their own experience with that stuff. This is just mine, And so, this idea of is God everything, is God nothing. Well, you want to know what happened? What happened was I was so spiritually sick. At my brother's wedding, I drank. I was with this girl, Pam. Beautiful girl. Really beautiful girl. I remember thinking Pam she's better than me. I used to think she's out of my league. I couldn't catch with her. She's blonde, blue eyes. She's popular. Everybody liked her. You know how everybody likes her when the guys want to kick your butt for her, right? I had those relationships. And I'm with her, and I take her to my brother's wedding, and it's an open bar. And suddenly, now I started drinking in the limo. I started drinking at the park during the pictures. I kept drinking during the open bar. And suddenly, somehow, at some point in time, doing rum and cokes and vodka and grapefruit juice at my brother's wedding, because I'm the guy's younger brother. They're serving me no problem. They're throwing down 20 so that the guy can keep pouring for me all day. And suddenly, let me tell you something. I am the life of the party. Suddenly, I feel okay. Suddenly, I can do better than this girl, Pam. So, suddenly, I think I might be able to get this one or that one. Right? Suddenly I notice she's got braces. Forget about the fact that my teeth are yellow and I have a little thing and all this other stuff, or they're crooked down here and all this other stuff because I'm afraid to smile, because I'm afraid you're going to look at my teeth. Like, I had that stuff my whole life. I wrote plenty of inventory on that stuff. But suddenly, that's what alcohol did for me. And it really worked, and it did great stuff, and it got me great friends, and it got me at the center of attention of a lot of parties, and a lot of jokes, and a lot of goofy nicknames, and a bunch of other stuff like that. Until it no longer did. Until that spiritual sickness, that feeling inside was so uncomfortable that the best way that I can act out on emotion was punching, kicking, pulling hair, cursing at, making fun of whomever. And I'm a guy, I identify with the Incredible Hulk. I'm this guy. I feel like still to this day, I'm this guy, David Banner, who's walking around from town to town, meeting to meeting, workshop to workshop, sponsor to sponsor, trying to find a way to keep this monster inside. Because you want to know something? You don't want to see me angry. You're not going to like it when I'm angry. Right? And those certain times when I start to get a little angry, I get those different shades of green. And it's like, is this the one where the dude's going to totally blow and pick up a drink to put that thing down? Or it's just going to be all bets off? And next thing I know, just like the Incredible Hulk, I'm waking up, I'm wearing different clothes. I got rips in my pants. I got a scratch on my face. There's a crack in the ceiling. And I go, what the hell happened last night? That's what it was like for me. I didn't go to bed saying, I'll never drink again, or I'll never do that again. Sometimes I said, this substance and this drink doesn't go together well. I did sometimes say stuff like that, but I never said that. I said, I'm never going to treat her like that again. I'm never going to speak to my mother like that again. I'm never going to treat this person like that again. I'm never going to behave that way again. I would say that all the time, and drunk or sober, with or without a drink. It wasn't like I'm a good gentleman. By the time I drank every day for 15 years, solid, round the clock, drinking and using for probably like 9 or 10 years. But solid drinking for 15. Drinking every day for 15 years. And by the time I'm pulling in here, drunk or sober, I'm this jerk. Drunk or sober, I'm not a gentleman. Drunk or sober, I make my family upset with me. And so, what happened? Well, to be honest with you, I don't say this a lot. I'm sorry that this is being recorded. But the truth of the matter is God grabbed me by the balls. That's what he did. Literally got me by the balls. What happened is I went to bed after that Super Bowl in 2008. And I was having this really great time with this girl and teaching this kid about the New York Giants and, man, going over that incredible, Tyree catch and all this other stuff. And suddenly the girl who I promised I'm only going to drink beer before the football game started. And next thing I know, the coin is going in the air, and now I'm shooting rum. And next thing you know, all bets are off, and I'm this total loony. To them at least, and at the end of the night, she's not kissing me, she's not loving me, she's angry, she's upset with me. I remember going to bed and covering myself. I'm wearing one set of clothes, and I'm going to bed covering myself up, angry, pissed off, screw you, leave me alone. Next thing I know, I'm laying down, I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, I'm wearing a totally different set of clothes, I'm crying, and my testicles are killing me. And I don't know why, right? I'm wearing, and my pants are wet. And I'm a guy who doesn't wet his pants. But now my pants are wet. My testicles are killing me. I don't know why. And everybody I'm going around the room to say, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Can anybody tell me what happened? And no one's giving me a satisfactory answer. I mean, they're giving me some good answers, but none of them make sense in my mind. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this person could kill me. Now finally, I was arrested for felonies. I was arrested multiple times for misdemeanors. I'd gotten 3 DWIs. I woke up one time out of a blackout driving north in the southbound lane, right? Driving against traffic, seeing trucks coming at me a mile away. None of that got my attention. God did so many things to try to get my attention. You know how he got my attention? He got me by the balls. And quite literally, that's what happened. My testicles wound up hurting for the next 6 or 7 months. I had to go to the doctor. I had to find out things that were going on. You know what? You try that for a little while. You might want to call your friend Anthony in North Carolina and say, hey, dude, I might have a drinking problem. And Anthony was that guy who made me that promise that I've held on to today. And how true has that promise been for me still to this day? Because now I've been changed. And the guys who got my attention wasn't too many of the people that were around here in these meetings. The guy who eventually got my attention after me coming to these meetings for 3 months wasn't the guy who talked about how much he drank, wasn't talking about what kind of needles he used or how many arrests he had or any of that stuff. The guy who got my attention was the guy who talked about the uncomfortability sober, why I couldn't feel comfortable sitting in the chair, why I couldn't sit still in the chair, how it was uncomfortable being me. And he assured me, right? He should talk about why all the time when I'm driving around in the car all by myself, I have to turn on the radio. I thought it was because I loved AC/DC. The truth of the matter is I turn on the radio because I'm having all these conversations in my head. I'm having an argument with my girlfriend over here. I'm having an argument with my ex-girlfriend over here. I'm having an argument with my boss over here, all alone, driving around in my car, and I have to turn the radio up just to get the quiet, just to try to shut down the voices. And this guy assured me of something. This guy who was talking about the uncomfortability sober, he assured me of something. He basically said, if I can't get rid of that uncomfortability sober, you're going to drink again. You're going out. If you're a real alcoholic, he let it be very clear to me that if I can't deal with driving around in the car by myself, and if I can't sit down by myself and watch a Yankees game, you're going to drink again. And you want to know something? I totally believed that. Everything about it, because what I knew from my life and my situation was anything that makes that feeling go away is substance. Anything that makes that go away is a drink. I put a drink in me, and suddenly it starts to even out. It starts to get a little bit cooler. And that is my truth to this day. So I need one or two things. Either God has to be everything in my life, or I'm going to drink and carry on with all the other stuff. You know, one of my friends, he told me, he goes, whatever your consequences are when you were drinking, you tend to repeat those consequences. So if you're a guy who smashes into telephone poles, you're going to getting into some more telephone poles. If you're the guy who wakes up with being Narcan, guess what? It's probably going to happen to you again. And if you're the guy who keeps getting arrested like me, keeps getting into domestic situations like me, keeps hurting a lot of people like me, and apparently now starts waking up with physical pain in your private area, guess what? That stuff is going to happen to you again. So, that guy got my attention. I asked that guy to take me through this process. He asked me, do I believe that I have this mind that's going to keep bringing me back to it no matter what? I said, I do. Because I obsess about everything else while I'm not drinking, right? Not just drink, not just substance, right? I obsess about everything. I obsess about sex. I obsess about the certain kind of sex. I obsess about if I'm going to tell you about the sex. I obsess if you think you know the kind of stuff that I'm doing. Right? I obsess about the job. I obsess about the money. I obsess that I don't have any money, or how I'm fat, bald, and I got no money. And I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to find a woman. I obsess about all that stuff. The only thing that's going to make that go away from me is a drink. So, yeah, I believe I have this mental obsession, sober. He asked me, do I believe when you put it in your system that you want more? Do you believe that you have this particular type of body? You know, at the time, I wasn't really 100% sure because I never tried to stop. But he had a lot of conversation about trying to control. And I had various failures at trying to control. I couldn't control very good. But I will tell you this, that when I'm hanging out at the downtown cafe, and you tell me we're going to go across the street and go to Red's, or go to Brannigan's down the road or whatever it is, and you tell me, hey, listen, after we finish up this one, we're going to go across the street. Every time, no matter where I am, no matter what's going on in my life, when you say to me, after this one, I'm leaving, we're getting 2. I order 2. My plan is to finish this one, to finish these 2, before you finish yours, and then I can order another one and then sit and nurse this one with you. Doesn't matter if there's stuff across the street. Doesn't matter if there's even more stuff a mile away. I still, even if we're going a mile away, have to walk out of there with some packaged goods. I even know there's stuff there. I know there's stuff in his bathroom that I put there. I know that there's stuff in his closet that I put there. I know there's stuff that we were drinking and using before we even left. I know there's more going there. I need a 12-pack. Something about it, when you start to even think about interrupting my stuff, I'm out of here. I remember on Thursday or Wednesday, telling my girlfriend, I'm going in just for one. I'm just going in for happy hour. I'll meet you for dinner at 6 o'clock. I know that's what's going to happen. 6 o'clock comes. Where are you? Oh, shoot. Sorry, babe. I'm going to leave now. I want to go to dinner with her. I want to go to dinner with her and her son. There's stuff at the house. She's probably going to do all the stuff that's in my head with me, right? So it's not a matter of that, right? But 7 o'clock. Oh, babe, I got to go. Yes, I'm on my way. I'm finishing right now. 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I'm turning off the phone, right? Guy buys me one, guy goes, next thing I know, right? I'm really high. I'm really loaded. I'm playing cards with some dudes in the basement and some girls are hanging around. Smoke is everywhere. And I just go, hey, what time is it? And the guy goes, it's 11 o'clock. Happy Easter. I know, right then and there, as soon as that guy says Happy Easter, I got my little niece, my nephews are waiting to do an egg hunt with me. Forget about church, forget about, whatever else is going on. I come to, and it's Easter. I do believe that I have this physical allergy. When I put this stuff in my system, I want more. He asked me, do you have Fear, ding. Do you pray to misery and depression? Ding. Do you have fear of people and economic insecurity? Ding, ding. Right? Can control your emotional natures? Not a lick. Ding. Right? I identify with all this spirituality stuff like you've just diagnosed the inner me, right? And I can't understand how well you described it. Yes, I got all of that. Well, here, I'm going to tell you something. You're screwed. Okay. I believe that too. He says, well, here's the story. Either God's going to be everything or he's going to be nothing. And you want to know something? I knew I needed God. I knew it. I knew it because sober I couldn't change. I knew I needed something else. I believed that the devil had his claws deep into the recesses of my soul. Yes, I need God. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make it happen. Well, we're going to sit down. We're going to say this prayer. I want you to say this prayer every day, along with a bunch of other prayers. I got a spiritual advisor outside of AA. I started to consult with many other spiritual advisors, all different religions, all different sects, all different types of meditation, all sorts of different books. I sought whatever I can. My sponsor said, seek experience, seek experience, seek experience. How do you know the Protestants don't work? Why don't you seek an experience? How do you know the Jewish folks don't have it together? Why don't you seek an experience? Seek an experience. If it doesn't work out for you, then you know you've got experience. This doesn't work. Why don't you go somewhere else? Said the prayer, gives me inventory. I wrote about everything. I wrote about everything, and I wrote all day long. I walked around with a clipboard. I wrote at the red lights. I wrote before the meeting. I wrote after the meeting. I wrote all the time. You know, I wrote if the Yankee game was on. I wrote if the Yankee game wasn't on. I wrote about all of my fears. I wrote about all of my sex stuff. I wrote about all of my relationships. I was told there was nothing too stupid, nothing too silly to go on an inventory. So guess what? Every stupid, every silly thing that, I got a fear of squirrels, writing it down. Fear of driving behind the cars with lots of trucks with lots of cars on them, writing it down. Fear of dying alone. Fear of my father dying. Fear of my mother dying. Fear of becoming my mother. Fear of becoming my father, fear of marrying my father, fear of marrying my mother. I wrote them all. I had like 150 fears, tons of resentments against the Red Sox, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Knicks. I wrote about everything. I was told, if it's in my head, if I'm wasting time, wasting space, you put it down on paper. You get free of that. And I had the advantage of sitting down with somebody who got to hold up a mirror to me as I read them the fifth step. As I'm driving, this fifth step took 8 hours, and then another 8 hours, and then another 8 hours. This was going on for a long time. I wound up doing a fifth step with a guy that I thought was one of the biggest chatterboxes in all of AA. I did my fifth step. My sponsor had to leave town. My sponsor went to another state. He had another job, and he basically said, dude, you tell me about, this is Wednesday, you need to tell me Friday who you're doing a fifth step with, because I only wanted to do this thing with my sponsor. He was the only guy I trusted. I wound up picking this other guy who I thought was a blabbermouth, who I thought couldn't keep a secret, right? But prayerfully, I asked God to show me somebody. That's who he showed me. Not the other people, not the other guys that I sort of trusted, not the guy that I'm like, well, maybe something can happen here. No, God showed me this guy. I did a fifth step with this guy, and by the time this thing was over, he had told me to drive home. He had told me to drive home, and if there was to sit down for an hour, sit down with this book, ask myself some questions. So I went to the St. Mary's Chapel, which is where I spent my hour. I remember on the drive home, I remember this thing. And it was just a little something about my sobriety date. It had something to do about like taking those pills, not prescribed as by my doctor. I had this fear that I was going to have to change my sobriety date. And I had, fears of, I guess, what people were going to think about me in AA because I had this sobriety date. Now, I told the guy, it was on my list, but I felt like I needed to become more clear about it. And as I'm driving home, I'm driving to St. Mary's Chapel over here, there's a big lump in my throat, I'm having a hard time swallowing. Before I even go into the chapel to spend that hour, I go, hey, dude, here's the story, man. Da-da-da-da, whatever. He goes, well, yeah, it sounds like something you need to talk to your sponsor about, but, thanks for telling me. I go into that chapel, and I swallowed. And I felt clean. That lump in my throat was gone. And suddenly I felt that lump in my throat was there my whole life. I felt like I always had this lump in my throat my whole life, this tension in my throat, this tension in my voice. I felt like I had it my whole life. I got kicked out of theater school because I had tension in my voice. Maybe it was, I had a bunch of other stories about what it was about, but that's what they wrote down on paper. You want to know something? I was able to clean. And now every time when I swallow, and if I feel a little something in there, I say to myself, well, I need to do something. I need to make an amends. I need to probably write some inventory. I need to probably work with another alcoholic. I need to go to a meeting. I better get some time in prayer. 6 and 7 to me is everything about my sobriety, and it's all about proper esteem. And it comes with those words from that book. Is God everything, or if God is nothing? If God is everything, then I am where I belong on my knees, asking God for everything, and knowing that I can't do anything without him. And so sometimes there are plenty of days where I ask God to pick out some clothes for me, and let's go brush my teeth, God, and let's go to take a ride to the store, God. And God, I don't know what the hell to get for this one, God. Oh my gosh, I have to go deal with my mother, God. Let's go do this, God. Come on. If I am properly esteemed, right? I'm not worried about what you think of me. I'm not worried about, if she's going to leave me or any of this other stuff. If I'm properly esteemed, me and these people on this planet, we're all the same. We're all equals. You're brothers, we're sisters, we're brothers and sisters together. I don't care what you think about me, and everything's cool. I mean, I love you and everything like that, but if you don't love me, that's okay. Totally different from the way it was before. And he's the creator. I'm the created being. I then go out, and that's the things that I have to remember every single day, currently to this moment. Am I properly esteemed with God and his children? Step 9 is about making myself be fit to be of maximum service to God and his children. Step 9, I made amends to my grandmother, my dad's mom. She was dead. I had 2 grandmas. They both lived with me, Grandma Finley and Grandma Gardella. And Grandma, they both were very nice. Grandma Finley, my dad's mom, I was her favorite. But she wasn't like the other grandma. She was cold. She was distant. She didn't do the lovey-dovey and the pinch on the faces and all that stuff. She didn't say, I love you, just like my father didn't say, I love you. And I had an opportunity. I went to this place called gravefinder.com, and I found her grave in North Jersey. And I wound up having an experience. This guy who felt like no one would love him for who he is. This guy that if he met a woman and had to tell her about all the stuff that he had done to other women his whole life, there's no way he was going to find somebody. If I sat down and had to tell a partner all the stuff about my drinking and my use and all this other stuff, there's no way you're going to love me. Guess what? Not to mention that, I'm broke, right? I'm getting older on in age. And I'm sitting down at this woman's grave, and I'm doing the directions exactly as it was set out. I was told to say what I'm aware of, what my harms are, and to sit and wait for the person to tell me something back. And as I'm doing this, the sun comes up. And as the sun is coming up, I'm almost thinking, it's one of those moments or whatever. But no, the sun comes up on her grave, and it comes up on the grave next to her. And the grave next to her is my grandfather. I never met my grandfather, but I do know that my grandfather was a raging alcoholic who had abuse problems. And then my grandfather, he was a bartender who spent one part of the day on one side of the bar and the other time of the day at the other side of the bar. And my father had to go on a trolley car in Brooklyn to go bring Daddy home. I know my dad was also beaten the snot out of by this guy. And suddenly, and I'd always heard that the only time you heard my grandmother light up, the only time you heard my grandmother talk with a lilt or talk like with some affection was when she was talking about and spending time with this guy, this lunatic alcoholic. And I remember thinking, oh my God, she loved a guy just like me. She loved a guy just like me. And in making this amends to my grandmother, I had gotten some belief that maybe that, I could be loved just for who I am too. And maybe somebody would love me. Maybe somebody would look past the sickness and see the little boy who needs a hug. I never expected that. I could tell you a bunch of other stories, but like this book tells us, 9 out of 10 times the thing you don't expect to happen happens. That's my experience. Step 11, I start my day and I end my day just like it says in that book. I ask God to please direct my thinking. I especially ask that it be divorced from self-pity, self-seeking, and dishonest motives. And if we're to compile all of the time that I do it, just like as soon as I open up my eyes, to all the times I don't do it in 12 years, I will tell you that 11 years worth of that time, I'm opening up my eyes and saying, dear God, please direct my thinking. Now, before I even get out of bed, before I go to the bathroom, before I have a coffee, dear God, please direct my thinking. I do pause when agitated or doubtful. I ask God for things in my life. I don't go off the thing anymore and go, is she going to marry you? Is she not going to marry me? Is this the one? Is this the one, God? God, is this the one? Should I take this job? Should I have this job, God? Please tell me, God, do I need a job? Do I need a job? Is this the one, God? Is this the one, God? Is this the one, God? How about now, God? What about this, God? Should I do this, God? It says in this book, we relax and we take it easy. So I don't know what year, sobriety, I read those words, relax and take it easy. But suddenly I was like, oh yeah. I'll just relax and take it easy. I will trust this power that he's going to bring somebody, that the right job is going to be there, that I'm just going to have to, do what's in front of me today. And the greatest gift in my life, and it is 1,000% true, is when this book says, nothing will surely work. Nothing works like intensive work with another alcoholic. That is my experience. My father died in 2019. I started already, the mind was at work. And I'm having a fight with my mother, and we're fighting over the church, and we're fighting over like stupid crap. What casket and all this other stuff. And I don't care. I just want to be in this one church with my father, and she can't afford it and all this other stuff. I call my sponsor. I lose my cool outside. I say, this is what's going on. And you know what my sponsor says to me? He goes, you got sponsees. You need to work with them. You better call your sponsees right now, and you better tell them that they better keep calling you, that you don't get a day off, that they need to call you with their 10 steps, that they need to call you when you're sick and twisted, that they need to call you with their problems. So I called up the guy who was homeless, living out of a car in Westfield, New Jersey, in an unregistered vehicle with a woman who actively drank, and I called him up. And suddenly this whole problem had gone away. And my experience is that when sponsees come over in my house, either from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock or from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night, those are 8 hours where I don't think about myself. And that is a gift for this mind. Working with another alcoholic gives me a break from me. And you want to know something in that respect? I know those guys who work with 7, 8, 9, 10 guys. I know why. They get a break from this. My sponsor talks about the miracle. I don't know about the miracle. I don't know if it's happened. Don't leave until the miracle happens. All that stuff. Well, I can tell you, this isn't a miracle, but this is a pretty cool thing. It's the power of the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. When my father died, I'm working with my sponsees, and I'm calling them, and they're coming over, and we're doing the deal, and my brother wants to fight with me over how I'm boxing up mom and dad's stuff, and I need to spend more time, whatever, and I'm just like, dude, you don't get it, dude. I need to go work with sponsees. He doesn't get it, and that's okay, But I will tell you, my dad died at 86 years old age. He wasn't a popular guy, he went to little church events and whatever, so maybe he had like 5 or 6 friends and probably a couple living family members or whatever. But that funeral parlor was loaded with members of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the first guy at that casket was my sponsor. The next guy at the casket was the guy who taught me to freebase cocaine, right? But he got off of a train and walked all the way to this place. And I had one alcoholic after another 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 alcoholic coming in and giving me love, supporting my family, showing up at the funeral, at the church the next day. People that I don't remember, people that I wouldn't expect are showing up at the church the next day. People who don't have GPS on their phone trying to make it happen, pulling over at gas stations. How do I get to this place? My sponsor, when they put that man in the hearse, my sponsee was next to that hearse, and on the other side of the casket was my sponsee's sponsee. That is the greatest joy in my life, to see how this thing works in other people's lives, and to have sponsees to lean on, but also have the possibility of having this power. I don't know if it really works in me very much, but I do believe this, and I do have experience with this. This power works through me. And I saw it that day. I can talk probably for another hour, believe it or not, even though I told you I can't do this very good. But I'll say right now, thank you for having me, and I apologize for running a little late. Peace.